Hey everyone, welcome to our Paxman team training. Tonight is the first night of our holiday workshop. We're so excited that you're here. For the next month, we're going to be focusing these Monday night trainings on how we're going to really make the holidays count and serve a lot of people during this time. It's a perfect time to reach out, and you're going to be seeing people that you haven't seen for a while. People are going to be wondering what you've got, what's going on with you, why you look so healthy. It's perfect timing, and we want to help you maximize that opportunity. Also, we just got off of a wonderful Zoom with Dr. A, Jamil Frazier, Priscilla, James, and Emily. Did you guys feel like we were among family right then? We just barely left those guys. They were at our team event. And that was so great to hear them train on how to really rock the end of this month. So many great ideas. Put a 2 in the comments if you were just on that Zoom and heard all of that great stuff that they just shared. If you happen to miss it, it's going to be it was recorded. Obviously, it's going to be available tomorrow. If you go into your Optavia Connect and you click on the resource tab, it's right under there, and you can see that by tomorrow night. So make sure you check it out if you missed it. Hopefully you didn't miss it. Okay, it looks like there were quite a few that were on. Make that like a rock in your schedule. We want to put that Monday night leadership Zoom is like a must do. It's at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern time. 6 o'clock Mountain is where I've got on my schedule that rock to be on with Dr. A and all the top leadership, so that we really stay on top of what we have going on. If we stay on the fringe of what we have going with Optavia, we sort of get to the point where we feel a little uncomfortable. We're not really in. We don't know what's going on. It feels like, I don't know if this is for me. When you're in there and you know what's going on, you feel really good, and you feel empowered to create whatever it is you want to create. And you can grow it to wherever you want to grow it to. But being in there and just investing that much time, plus, wow, I'm so popular. I think people are thinking to call me rather than hop in my Zoom room. That's what's happening. So if you're missing peeps, go and find them. Tell them to go to Zoom first and then put my number in. But then right after these leadership Zooms with Dr. A, we are going to be doing our team training right after for the next forever. We're just going to take that hour, make it our team time. So I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to turn it over to Gwen Peterson and her team tonight. They've got an amazing training for us. And then right at the end, there's a couple really important things to wait for, because we've got some really important stuff you got to know about. So don't jump off early. Okay? So Gwen, are you there? She's all decked out. She's got her Santa hat on. She's ready for the workshop. I love it.
That's right. That's right. Well, I am so excited that this is the subject that I get to train on, because this is, to me, the most powerful part of coaching is these systems checks or celebration Zooms, whatever you call them, because not only do they help the client stay focused and learn the parts that they may be potentially tweaking that are tweaking their results, but also planting that seed to help them create the community of people around them to help them stay focused. So as I knew that this was going to be my subject, I started reaching to my coaches on my teams that have been doing them for me, because when Jan is your coach, Jan gets to do so many of these with people that I save Jan for the ones that I know need her, and the rest I use among the coaches on my team. And so what was funny is when she gave me this topic, I was like, well, great, I'll just go to the coaches that do this with me, for me, and I know how the areas that they're really strong in. So moving forward, this is me. I am a global director. I've been coaching for 5 years, and this will be my 5th holiday. And what's really fun is you maybe kind of don't breathe a little bit during the next couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, the last week of the month, if you have done what we teach you through all of the leadership call just now, go listen to that a couple times. If you are struggling on what to do the next 4 weeks, go listen to that. They gave the list of to-dos. It was beautiful. But I can tell you, I have never had a last week of December not exceed my expectations when I've done the work that we talk about with the 3x3 and these type of doing the systems checks and all of that with our clients. So what we're going to go over is talking about what the systems check looks like. We're going to give some suggestions to the client and then talk about what that thank you post at the end could look like, and then the questions and answers. So I'm first going to turn it over to Sherry Bradford. Sherry has done, I think, 3 of these calls with me in the last week for my clients. And what made me realize that I get to shift a little bit how I do these is she and I say the same thing, but to me, I'm like, okay, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And it's just a systems check where she pauses in between each question and is celebrating them and making them feel like they are the most amazing superstar on our program. So I thought, I'm going to turn it over to Sherry and let her go through the questions of the systems check, because she will give you guys some tips on how to help you make those questions not feel cold, but make them feel engaging, to let them know you really want what's best for them. So Sherry, are you there?
I'm here, Gwen.
All right, perfect. And she has her little Santa hat on. Can you guys see her? It's on the top of her head. It's so cute. I love it. Sherry, anything you would add to that before we dive into your questions?
I think it's important to remember that, like, I started this journey Sunday after Thanksgiving, like after eating through the entire week, and like Sunday I was like desperate. So I think that when we overindulge during the holidays, we also get very desperate and things start to happen to our bodies. Like I was having heartburn for the first time and didn't know what it was. So I think that it's important to realize that with the holidays come overindulgence, and it truly leads to change and transformation. So what I was going to do, but apparently the questions are right in front of me, is I was going to tell you that you can split your screen. I just recently learned this. So I was moving my Zoom over to one side and the questions over to another. I had them already out. And that really works well, because you can make eye contact the entire time that you're asking the questions. This is nothing new. I know that I'm supposed to praise what I want more of. So as I'm asking the questions, when someone gives me an answer and they're moving in the right direction, that's when I always just go, that's cool, that's awesome, you're a superstar. So that's really how I ask the questions. With this new format, we don't give suggestions until the end. So while I'm asking the questions, I don't pause and say, okay, well, if you added more ounces of water, you would get better results. I wait until the end and then ask permission. But of course, I ask permission before I ask these questions, just like I've been taught by my wonderful mentors. So just going through the list, I would say, like, do you eat every 2 to 3 hours? Do you set alarms? Do you ever go past 3 hours without eating? How does that make you feel? And just remember that if you go too long, you're going to get hungry. Oh, you're eating 5 times a day? Okay, great. Awesome. Let's try to get that to 6. Then what time do you wake up? Do you ever go past an hour without of waking without eating? Because you certainly want to supercharge your metabolism. Do you drink coffee? Me too. What do you put in it? Almond milk? Yes. Is it unsweetened or regular? How many fuelings do you get in within a day? You got 5? That is cool. I'm so impressed with you already. This is really just how it's how it goes along. What time are you going to bed? What time do you actually fall asleep? Yes, I get it. I totally get it. That dog won't stop barking in my house either. What are you having for your lean and greens? And then if they usually talk about meat-related things, I say, oh, I'm a vegetarian. Let's look at your guide to make sure you're getting the right things, the right ounces. And then, do you want to switch it, Gwen? Thank you. Thank you, Gwen. How much are you getting in veggies? What are your favorite kinds of veggies? Oh, you hate vegetables? I had a mother-in-law just like that. So let's focus on just a couple that you love. Are you measuring them? Do you have a food scale? You know, you can weigh your veggies in addition to just measuring them, because I think it's 2.6 ounces of lettuce is a full serving. And if you ever put 2.6 ounces of lettuce on a plate, you'll see that that is way more than a cup. You really got to cram it in. How much are you getting? What kind of proteins are you eating? Is this before or after you cook them? Have you done that experiment where you measure it before, cook it, and then measure it after and see what the difference is? Then you'll know how much to cook it at the start. What kind of activity are you doing throughout the day? Do you walk your dog? I bet your dog is very grateful for that. Way to go. Do you climb stairs? Do you wear a Fitbit counter? Are you parking further away in the parking lot? It's Black Friday just happened. Remember where you had to park then? Park there all the time and you'll get in way more steps. Let's see. Have you figured out how to connect on the Wednesday night webinar and playbacks? This is part of our community and it's fantastic. Let me send you how to do that. And then don't go more than 3 hours between eating or your blood sugar drops and you start to store fat. That is the biggest motivator of all. Thank you, Gwen, for allowing me to share these questions.
You bet. And you see how she just took the little pieces and gives them positive through that. Just she celebrates them, keeps it upbeat instead of just like, okay, great, and then, which it can get very mechanical if you do that. So I just love how at the end of when Sherry has done them for me, she's really connecting with them, celebrating that they are weighing out their meat and that they're a superstar. I mean, she's saying the word superstar 2 or 3 times as she's doing that. And I'm like, I bet the clients like her more than me because she's like all over how great of feedback she's giving them. So Sherry's your gal, and I try to emulate that as you're letting the people know that you are proud of them, and you know, and as you just go when they say goofy things, you just kind of roll with it. So that's what Sherry's really good about that, and that's where I wanted to bring in Sue Peters, because Sue and I'm Sue's direct coach, and we've had some real humdinger clients with some funny things we've gotten out of the clients on systems checks. So I thought Sue would be a perfect person to talk about the suggestions based on where they might be tweaking the program. So Sue, are you there?
I mean, let me try this unmuted. I am here. Thank you, Gwen. It's been a great 6 years that you and I have been doing this together. I've been coaching for 4 years, but this is actually my 6th Thanksgiving and Christmas that I'm going through in a much healthier way. I love it. You know, to know what we should eat and to not have that big bloat that we're so used to having. Sherry, I bet you can relate to that one a few years ago that made us all so desperate. Anyway, I love getting on these calls with clients to be that third voice, that third party validation. I look at these as when we're coaching a client, we're kind of like the mom and the dad, and we need to be on the client daily, you know, telling them what to do. Of course, we're doing it lovingly and with much validation, but we're kind of on them, and we're communicating with them multiple times a week, hopefully getting on a call with them weekly. But when I get on these celebration tip systems check calls, I get to be the grandma. I don't have any grandkids, but I get to be the grandma that spoils the client and just encourages them. I love my parents dearly, but when my kids were little, my dad kind of thought that it was up to him to make sure that they ate properly every moment that he was with them. And I would have to say, Dad, that's my job. When they're with you for 2 hours, you just love on them. And so I get to love on them. So anyway, now about what I have to say and add here. So when we do ask all of those questions, like Sherry said, and try very hard to not get into our suggestions, in the middle of the questions, we take our time, and then we want to talk to them about their what and their why, if they're struggling. What are they doing? Are they on a diet, or are they creating health? Oftentimes a client will say, well, I'm so tired of the diet. I'm so, all of this. And it's like a child. We need to keep referring back to the fact that this is a total health program, and it's a lifelong program. We can't ever get tired of it. I mean, that's the purpose of our community and our education and our support. And why are they doing this? What is their life going to look like later when they get the weight off, when they get off their pain meds, when they get off their diabetes meds? I did a check-in call with a client today, and 5 minutes into our call, he tells me that he's off his CPAP machine. I mean, that's so huge. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. So yeah, he's doing great. If they're having a struggle with their lean and green, not eating enough protein is often a problem. Sometimes eating too many vegetables is a problem, because we've been taught that vegetables are free items. And we know that while they're very good for us, they're not free. So we might want to revisit the lean and green. Another really important reason for doing these celebration tip systems check calls on a Zoom is because if they haven't downloaded or uploaded the podcast app, we can pick up our phone and we can show them right there how to do it. I mean, first of all, it's so much more personal to get on. I mean, wouldn't you rather see this face than just a phone call? Boy, this is weird. Everybody else is muted and I'm doing like a monologue. There's no laugh track. Anyway, so we can get on our phones and really show them how to, hook up that podcast right then and there. If they're really struggling, we can encourage them to journal. And the journal could be in a fancy book that looks like a journal, or it could be a journal on our Facebook Messenger where they're journaling with us, either their direct coach or all three of us, their client support text, Facebook. And then if they're struggling with emotional eating, which so many people do, especially this time of year, we think of this time of year as very happy, but sometimes it's not happy for everybody at every moment. If they're having emotional eating issues, we might send them to Kirkley and this YouTube video. It's amazing. It's 7 minutes, 38 seconds long, and she hits everything. She talks about Stop Challenge Choose. She talks about the term blasted. Do we all know that term? The bored, let me think, bored, lazy, angry, stressed, I can't remember, tired, excited, depressed. She hits all of these things. And finally, our great new tool, Never Binge Again, is a great book that we can recommend that they read. And it really gives great insights. So anyway, love doing these calls. They're more fun than presenting.
Well, and Sue, I just have to say that I'll stop the share for a second so that you guys can see her face as I say this. I think our best story call celebration we did one time was with a client that I knew I was going to need a little extra hands on deck. So Sue was the main coach. I was the extra layer. And she says to us, well, I just love the s'mores bar. And Sue, being Sue's like, well, so do I. They're great. And she goes, I know, I just can't stop eating them. And we're like, well, that's okay. You can have 5 a day. And she goes, no, I'm eating like 5 at a time. And so then Sue says, well, how many fuelings are you eating in a day? And what was it, like 15 or 20 a day?
I think it was 15. I think it was 15. And again, like the vegetables, apparently the fuelings are free, right?
Yeah. So needless to say, this poor gal that we have worked on and off with, that was even working with a therapist, I think Sue and I were able to maybe help her lose 15 pounds, but it was definitely beyond our scope of what she needed help with. But I think I will never forget that one, because we both kind of like stopped. We're breathing through our nose and tried to stay positive when she's like, I'm eating the whole box at one time, the poor sweet thing. So yeah, so that's why I thought Sue would be good for the support questions part, because she's so great at taking the good, giving the feedback on what they get to tweak, and then bringing it back around with tools. So I think that is great. So good job, Sue. Thanks for going through that. Next, I'm going to bring on Bob Butler. He's also a coach